You mean you snore while you awake too? Is that what you telling me? You over here snoring while you wide awake? I thought you was asleep with your eyes open. You over here snoring while you wide awake? Are you kidding me? Are you just kidding me, or are you kidding me? Come on, man. You can't be snoring while you awake, man. You gotta at least go to sleep, little mama. Yes, you do. You gotta at least be sleeping. What's up with that? Am I that boring that you just can let out and start snoring? Is it like that? Is it like that? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, girl. That's my girlie. What you want to do? Oh, we can fight before the show starts. There ain't no question about that. You want to see what I got? This is what I got. This is what you don't. This is what I got. This is what you want. Yo, we were supposed to do a whole different show. Too hot for you to go outside. Too hot for me to talk to anybody with their doggy. I didn't even feel right trying to talk to somebody with their dog today. Too hot for me to have them stand still and do an interview. What's up? We gotta always be in the studio. We gotta be able to get out here and do something. Yeah, we gotta be able to get out here. It's too hot for your little black butt. What's up? What's up, y'all? I am Master Christian, and today didn't turn out the way that we thought it was gonna turn out. Today turned out entirely differently than what we expected. We're gonna wait on some people to come in, and I'm gonna give you the goods because it's late night with Master Christian. Yeah, late night. And can we do the late night? Susie, man, today was a day where we were supposed to do interviews at the park and on the belt line and all of that. And when I tell y'all it was 100 degrees outside plus, and boy, oh boy, I couldn't bring myself to stop anybody with their animal to talk to. People were talking to me, but I couldn't bring myself to turn on the cameras and try to talk to somebody outside and do an interview and let them tell you about their dog. I couldn't even bring myself to talk to anybody outside when it was over 100 degrees today. Now, when you look it up, it's going to say 93 or 94. But when you're out there in Atlanta, whew, good Lord. And then the traffic, let me tell you, the traffic was totally ridiculous. I don't know what's wrong with these people, why they can't drive and get it together, but totally ridiculous. So now we're here, 8:30. We at 8:30 yet? We got 2 minutes, but we're going to get started with Control, episode 90. I am Master Christian. Come here, baby. Come here, my baby. Come here, my girl. Come. This is your co-host, Susie Spaniel. Yeah, she's in the house tonight. Susie Spaniel. You know, she like cutting out and things. Maybe she'll stick with us for this show tonight. I don't know. But we're going to give you a show. It was going to be interviews today. We're going to give you a show about how this went down and that I had to adapt to how hot it was because I dare not call myself an animal safety expert and stop someone on the street and allow them to talk to me while their dog is in this hot environment. Way too hot. Heat advisory. Crazy outside. So let's get started. Control, episode 90. 90 days of control going on without missing one. And we wasn't going to miss this one either. That's why I'm here tonight for you. All right, let's go. When the environment changes the plan. Today, the environment changed the plan. Today's episode was supposed to look completely different. We was up out of here. We wasn't in this, whatever this is, the studio. We wasn't in nowhere around here. We was downtown Atlanta. We was in the Bluff. We was over on the Midtown. We were all over Atlanta today, but it was too hot. I couldn't go over to the park. It was too hot. And yeah, I was sweaty. They was sweaty. The dogs was panting. Can't be talking to nobody with the dogs outside when it's hot like that. So today's episode was supposed to look completely different. I plan to get outside, find people walking their dogs, stop them and ask questions, and have a real conversation about their animals. But there was one problem. Did I tell you the problem already? I think I told you the problem already from today. It was hot. You know, it was hot like when I was a kid and there wasn't no AC. It was hot like sitting over the register with a blanket over your lap so the heat can't escape and nobody else in the room can feel it. It was hot like that. Falling asleep on that register, waking up, and you might be burned. Hot like that. Outside even. Turn your air on, the air in the car trying to work. Yeah, you chilly in here. But boy, when you get out that car, it's going to be a rude awakening. Yes, it is. Hot enough that I couldn't bring myself to start stopping people who were already outside walking their dogs. I just wanted them to get where they was going. The dog didn't want to be out there. I'm telling you. It didn't want. And tomorrow the dog don't want to be out there. Let them dogs relax. I could not conduct an interview because of the heat. And that got me thinking, what do you do when you have a plan, but the environment changes? Well, you got to recoup and regroup. So what I did was, I said, I'm going to go over here to Fellini's. If y'all know what Fellini's is, Fellini's Pizza. This is not a plug. Fellini's Pizza is solid. I went over to Fellini's, got me a pizza. It's on the counter, because when I got to the house, I said, let me go ahead and set up today's real show. Because today's interview show, it burned away with the heat. Yo, what do you do? Do you force the plan because you said you were going to do it, or are you intelligent enough to adapt? Today I adapted. For all y'all who don't know what that is, that's no cap, no cap. For y'all that do know what that is, it is what it is. Let's see who this is. Oh yeah, what's up? Hello, hello, hello. What's the temperature where y'all at? Is it blazing hot? Is it time to harvest the cotton? Has things got to August heat? Yeah, we at August heat. We at what are they? Leo heat. Yeah, it's hot, man. We almost out of Leo heat. It's coming down, but yeah, it's hot here in Georgia. I'm not gonna play. We praise people for sticking to the plan, but sometimes sticking to the plan is exactly the wrong decision. And I thought about it. I had all my gear with me. I had some help with me. I kept wanting to pop out with the cameras and say, yo, I had my mics with me today. Yo, let me do an interview with you. Tell me about your dog. How old is your dog? What problems are you having with your dog? How's the family liking your dog? The dog. No, the hot. I couldn't do it. So I had to change that decision, recoup and regroup. Conditions change, people change, animal change, resource changes, weather changes, opportunity changes, and information changes. A good decision yesterday can become a bad decision today because of the conditions surrounding that the decision changed. Yo, we had to change the decision. Today we're going to talk about the difference between quitting and adapting, and why some of the strongest decisions you will ever make involve changing your original plan. Hey, let's change that plan. Let's rock that roll, yo. Have you ever continued doing something simply because you said you were going to do it, even after you knew the circumstances had changed? Yo, when the circumstances change, you change. Don't be sitting in it so deep that you can't change. Yeah, you had a plan, but you need a secondary plan. You need to be able to adapt and change the plan. You need to be able to do something special to make sure that the goal is reached. Can I get that from you? The goal needs to be reached. A plan is not a goal. Yo, there was a whole time with that. I didn't even know that was coming. I'm not that far along in this. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing the plan with the goal. They're not the same thing. The plan is not the goal. The goal is winning a championship. The plan might be to score 40 tonight, but that is not the goal. And even if you don't score 40, long as you get that dub, yo, that is what matters. And I always bring up LeBron, but LeBron had a streak of 10 points a game, at least 10 points a game. He was like at 1,200 and something. And it came down to the last seconds of the game. LeBron James at the top with the ball. LeBron goes to the hole and poof, he threw it to the Rui in the corner for the three-pointer to win the game. The streak was broken, but the goal to win that game, it completely controlled everything. Yo, you might got goals to do something, but the main goal is to win. And we winners out here. My main goal was to make sure that we did episode 90 today. Come hell or high water. I'm healthy, we wealthy, and this is where we at. We here with you doing episode 90. My goal today was to create a valuable episode of Control and engage people in a meaningful conversation about human and animal behavior. The interviews were simply one method of accomplishing the goal. I don't like being the lecturer. I like being the interaction king. I like letting you tell the story. But when I can't let you tell the story, I can give you good information so you can do better. I need you to do better. And I got a whole show here to do. But we gonna stick on where we at. We're not gonna get so stuck in the lecture part of the show. We're going to get stuck into the adaptability of it because that's what we got to do. We must adapt to weather, changes, danger, everything, relationships. We got to adapt. And if you stuck in your ways and you saying this how I talk and this what I do, you're not adapting at all. If you can't change your wicked ways, you're going to be stuck in the muck. You're going to be stuck in where you was yesterday. When conditions made the method less appropriate, the goal didn't disappear. The method changed. That's called adaptation. I adapted to the situation with my adaptation, yo. Come on, let's hear it. Too many people become loyal to a method instead of loyal to the mission. And the mission is as follows. They say, but this is how I plan to do it. That doesn't matter if the plan no longer fits reality. Yo, reality. That's what we need to plan to do. We need to plan, to fit reality. That's how we do this. You plan to exercise outside, but there's dangerous heat. Change the workout. Don't abandon your health. Hey, you go out there and get the humping and pumping in that heat and see if you don't get to stroking and falling out. Don't do it to yourself. We're not going to play like things don't need to change sometimes. And yo, I had to come here, set it up, get it ready, and go ahead and show you what we all about. I am Master Christian. That means I have to adapt a lot because the dogs don't give me a chance to stay the same. The fish don't give me a chance to stay the same. I have to read and observe and figure out what's going on so I make a change. And sometimes the change is different than what I thought. You know, it's like a good mechanic. I'm listening. I'm feeling the vibrations. I'm observing what's going on. I'm test driving. And then we make that change. It's like Michael Jackson said, we gotta make a change for once in our lives. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right. Yeah, gotta make that change. Anyway, you plan to launch a business using one product, but customers are clearly asking for another service. Adjust the product, don't abandon the business. You plan to train an animal for 30 minutes, but after 12 minutes, the animal is mentally finished. In that session now. Don't be on the clock with your dog. Don't be on the clock. Don't sacrifice tomorrow's training trying to complete today's schedule. When you see that that dog is mentally exhausted, it's not responding, or it did well, and you want to stop right there, that's where you want to stop. You don't want to overtrain, and you don't want to mentally wear the dog out, because you want the dog coming in tomorrow ready to go, knowing that this is what you're looking for. And if you go too far, you went too far. Ever thought about that? Don't go too far. Animals consistently respond to environment information, temperature, noise, movement, smells, threats, food availability, and other animals and humans. They consistently respond to these environments. An animal doesn't care what was written on your calendar. It responds to the conditions that exist right now. Humans sometimes ignore information because we're emotionally attached to what we already decided. You gotta lose that. Can't be so emotionally attached and not be able to adapt. Don't become so committed to your plan that you become disconnected from reality. And if you're thinking about reality through viewing them through reality shows, that's scripted. I've been there at the bowling alley for College Hill, where on TV you see them bowling and everything. At the bowling alley, I see the producers telling them what to do. And that ball you see roll down might not have came from the hand you saw it leave. Them strikes you saw on the show, they wasn't the strikes from the people on the show. They were showing other people's strikes. They would sit there with their camera and the ball roll. Yeah, you cut. You edit. You make it look like the person that bowled the ball got the strike, right? So, where we at? What plan have you had to change recently? Is there a plan you had to change recently? Did changing it feel like failure at first? You're not failing when you change. You're adapting. And you still have a chance of a high percentage of success as long as you follow through with what you need to do. It might not be at the same time that you thought it was going to happen, but make it happen. You got time. Long as we hate. I talked to somebody, I went to the barber shop this morning, and it was a room full of men, and I said, good morning, gentlemen. Everybody said good morning. I said, how y'all doing today? They said, we alive. It's a great day. I said, yeah, another day above ground, and we're able to speak and see each other. I didn't know none of these. I didn't know nobody who at the barber, but I'm coming in speaking, because that's what we do. Room full of men, we gonna be men all day. Yay, yay. The environment is constantly giving you information. The question is, are you paying attention to the environment? Why it's giving you that information? Do you have a goal to win? So you got to pay attention to win. If you're not paying attention, you're trying to lose. Today, the heat was information. It wasn't an excuse. It wasn't laziness. It was a condition that needed to become part of a decision. The heat, not in the heat of the night. We talking about in the heat of the day. Woo! You got people talking about, man, it's too hot out here. You can't even speak, bro. Too hot for them. Sometimes people use conditions as an excuse, but sometimes conditions are legitimate variables that intelligent people must consider. Observe, assess, decide, adapt. First, observe what's happening. Second, assess what it means. Third, decide where your original plan still makes sense. Fourth, adapt when necessary. The mistake is jumping directly from I planned it to therefore I must do it. There should always be an assessment between intention and action. Dogs don't cool themselves the same way humans do. And the ground gets hot as well. You want to know about that dog's sensitive pad? You walking across that hot ground, that's where they sweating from. It's a terrible experience. It just really, it's a terrible experience. Panning becomes extremely important. Shade matters, hydration matters, humidity matters, physical condition matters, age matters, breed and autonomy matters, pavement temperature matters. These are all things that you got to take in consideration when it's hot outside and I'm going to walk the dog. Maybe you should wait till it gets dark to walk the dog in some cases. I was in Vegas. Susie was in Vegas. Susie had on shoes. She had her booties on because we in Vegas and I'm not about to burn them paws up just to be walking around because I'm in Vegas. We still had to go to the bathroom, but Susie had on something to protect them paws. And we wasn't going to burn them pads up while it was 115 degrees outside. Absolutely not. And we wasn't going to make the suit stay out there too long. I don't play that. No. We don't play that. A walk that might be perfectly reasonable under one set of conditions can become inappropriate under another. Same dog, same leash, same neighborhood, different environment, different decision. That's adaptation. Conditions are information. Intelligent behavior responds to information every time. When conditions change, are you quick to adjust or do you usually keep pushing? You can keep pushing if you want to. I'm going to keep pushing right now, and I'm going to push you to like, follow, share, subscribe, support. $ Master CT. This show is brought to you by Master Christian LLC. And that's how we running it. Let's get to Animals Today news. That's what we got going on. Current animal news for the live show of Control, episode 90. You ain't know? Now you know. And here we go. Dog rescued after nearly 4 hours in hot van. What? 4 hours in hot van? You lucky they didn't get you. And if they did rescue the dog, they probably got you. You can't leave your dog in no hot car for 4 hours. Shame on you. A dog in Jefferson County, Colorado was rescued after being locked inside a van for nearly 4 hours while outdoor temperatures were in the 80s. That's better than it was here. And my dog definitely ain't going to be in the car without the air. Witnesses alerted authorities after noticing the dog in distress. Animal control officers and a sheriff's deputy responded, and the deputy ultimately broke the window to reach the animal. Authorities said the dog was showing signs of heat distress. And they have strokes on you too. They'll stroke on out and be dead in that car, yo. The case is an important reminder that an outside temperature that may not sound extreme can still create dangerous conditions inside a closed vehicle. For pet owners, the decision has been to be based on the environment and the animal is actually experiencing, not on simply how comfortable the weather feels to a person standing outside. Whew. Ralph survives nearly 36 hours abandoned in Florida heat. A dog named Ralph survived after being tied to a pipe outside Arlington Animal Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida for nearly 36 hours. Reports say he was left there on August 8th and endured temperatures around 93 degrees without food or water because before clinic staff discovered him, Ralph was dehydrated but still alive. One particularly striking detail was his behavior. Ralph had dug into the ground while he was stranded. That behavior may have helped him find some relief from the heat. Veterinarian technician Mandy Holden began fostering him after the rescue. while the clinic called for accountability for those responsible. Ralph could not change the situations humans put him in, but he could respond to it, to his immediate environment. Survival often depends on the behavior adaptation when circumstances cannot be controlled. Good job, Ralph. Glad you dug your hole and got a little cooler. Because, yo, it be hot out here. Hello, everybody coming in. What's happening? Glad to see y'all. Wildfires forced 60 rescued orangutans to relocate. Wildfires in Indonesia threatened an orangutan rehabilitation center in West Kalimantan, where animals rescued from wildlife tracking are being cared for. Flames reportedly came within 100 meters of the Yari Center, as dry and windy conditions fueled fires across the region. Staff moved 60 orangutans into central enclosures while emergency crews worked to protect the facility, including firefighting and water bombing efforts. The immediate danger eased, but officials remain concerned because the region's peak fire season normally comes later. It is early. These animals had already experienced major disruption through trafficking and rescue. Now, another environmental threat forces caretakers to change their management strategy again. Adaptation is not always something we choose. Sometimes the environment changes first, and the survival depends on how quickly animals and humans respond. What? Conservationists are asking whether animal culture must be protected. Conservation science is increasingly examining something beyond simply counting how many animals remain. The learned knowledge animals pass among one another. I don't understand what we got here, but let's keep on going. Research on animal culture shows that social learning can influence migration, feeding, communication, and other behaviors important to survival. Okay, adaptation can depend on knowledge. What one generation learns and passes to the next may become part of a species. Adaptability to respond to a changing environment. Yeah, that's what we're going to do for the news today. I didn't want to have to do the news today, but the news is important, especially when we have to adapt. So we're going to get back after we say support. Yeah, support. $ Master CT on the Cash App. Subscribe, follow, like, and share. That's all we want you to do. Just come on with us. Like I said, this is show 90 days in a row, 90 shows every day. You know, this is how we do it. And we are back. Persistence can become stubbornness. We're constantly told, don't quit, keep going, push through, never give up. Those statements can be useful, but without judgment can also become dangerous. There's a point where persistence stops being discipline and can become stubbornness. Persistence says, I'm committed to reaching the destination. Stubbornness said, I'm committed to taking this particular road regardless of what happens. If the road is closed, you don't park your car in front of the barricade for 6 hours screaming, I don't quit. You find another road. Yet people do the psychological equivalent every day. Someone starts a business, their first strategy doesn't work. Instead of learning from the market, they keep doing exactly the same thing harder. That's not necessarily perseverance. Sometimes that's called refusal to learn. What is reality teaching me? What's reality teaching you? Is reality teaching you to change before you get rigid and keep pushing and trying to do the same? Or is reality teaching you to just keep going hard? Watch animals navigate an obstacle. Many will attempt one route. If it doesn't work, they'll reposition, investigate, go around, back up, or try another angle. The objective remains, the strategy changes. Persistence without awareness can become stubbornness. Have you ever stayed with a bad strategy too long? What finally made you change? Adaptation requires awareness. You cannot adapt to something you refuse to acknowledge. That's why awareness is so important. Sometimes the environment changes gradually. The relationship isn't what it was. The business isn't what it was. The audience isn't what it was. The animal isn't behaving the way it did 6 months ago. Because the change happens slowly, you keep using an old strategy for a new situation. This is critical. Yesterday's solution can become today's problem. Believe it, please believe it. Something working previously is not proof that it will continue working indefinitely. Successful people constantly reassess. Good animal trainers reassess. Good leaders reassess. Good parents reassess. Good businesses reassess. Why? Because behavior exists inside an environment. Change the environment and you can change the behavior. Imagine you're training a dog successfully in your living room. Then you take the same dog outside. Cars, people, dogs, smells, birds, noise. Suddenly the dog appears to forget everything y'all did in the living room. Yeah, you gotta adapt. Maybe the dog didn't forget. You changed the environment and therefore you change the difficulty of behavior. That is an important lesson for humans too. When the environment changes, everything changes. And today, the environment changed. That thermostat got turned straight on up. I knew it was going to be hot. Golly. Yeah. Never judge behavior without considering the environment surrounding it. What changed around you that may not have adjusted to you yet? What changes have happened around you that you haven't adjusted to? Where is it at? Change the method. Protect the mission. That's what you got to do. Change the method. Protect the mission. That's what you got to do. Change the method. Protect the mission. Today's plan changed, but control episode 90 still happened. That's the lesson. You don't always get to control the conditions, but you can control how intelligently you respond to them. Changing your method doesn't automatically mean you've lowered your standard. Sometimes adaptation is exactly what protects the standard. That's why we're here, people. That's why we're here. I protected the standard. I made sure that controlled episode 90 happened for you and me and her. And look at her. She hung with it. We stayed here. We got it. Separate the goal from the plan. Your plan is the route, not the destination. Read the environment. Conditions are information. Ignore them didn't make you disciplined. Sometimes it makes you unaware. Adapt without abandoning the mission. Change the method when necessary, but keep moving towards what matters. Where in your life are you forcing an old plan into new conditions? What could you change today without giving up your actual goal? Yo, can you change something today without giving it up? Yo, let me give you something to change. Change how you hold that leash and put your thumb through the loop and hold that leash correctly. Before it's over, I'm going to teach everybody with a dog that's using a leash at any given time how to use this leash. Conditions going to change, but this thumb through the loop stay constant. You're not going to lose your dog when you use it. A change plan is not automatically a failed plan. Awareness must come before action. Pay attention to what the environment is telling you. Adaptation is not weakness. It's the ability to change your behavior when reality gives you new information. Identify one place where you're saying, but this was the plan, then ask yourself a better question. Is this still the best way to accomplish the goal under the conditions that exist today? If the answer is no, change the method, protect the mission. Today, the heat changed my plan, but it didn't change my purpose. That's not quitting, that's adaptation, and that is controlled. Being committed to the goal doesn't mean being committed to the original plan. Subscribe, like, follow, share, support. $Master CT. I am Master Christian. This is Susie Spaniel. Thank you for coming. Late night hype. Do your thing. Enjoy your Saturday night. This is Controlled, episode 90. Y'all have a great evening. Peace.